Hey everyone, sorry I am running a couple minutes behind. It has been a busy day because it is Roth conversion season. Everyone, my favorite time of the year. I'm back. I was traveling, so sorry for the interruption in the live streams, but we're back and we've got it going on. I'm sorry, so sorry I didn't post anything about today's live stream, but I will be doing one on IRMAA, otherwise known as Medicare premium increases. So if anyone wants to see that, let me know. I also will just kind of handle questions as they come along. So if you've got any burning questions you want to ask me and it's not even related to IRMAA, feel free to go ahead and go for it. Let's see. I also have a YouTube channel, 2 Minute Retiring. In fact, I'm going to show everyone right here. I'm just going to share my screen, go to 2 Minute Retiring, 2 Minute Retirement Planning to show you all. And hopefully you like it because I like it a lot. I think it's pretty cool. And I think I've got some good stuff on there. I mean, I can always do a little bit more. And I've got a lot more cool videos coming out. So I would love if you subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. And okay, I got this pulled up. So let me share my screen right here. We've got 2 Minute Retirement Planning. Boom. There we go. That's it. If you just type 2 Minute Retirement Planning in the search bar, I'll pop up. You can hit that subscribe button and check out my videos. Let me know what you think. Comment, like them. Would be much appreciated. So, okay. That's that. I'm going to take us back to the presentation and we will get this thing going. So we're going to be talking about IRMAA today. And let me also again share my screen here. Here we are. And let's see. Okay. So let me make that a bit bigger for everyone here. I don't want you to have to deal with that. But anything I do, well, okay, maybe there's a little bit of a lag between when I show my screen and when I don't. Hopefully not. Oh, okay, no, there we go. Okay, so IRMAA. But of course, before I jump into this, know that all this information is educational in nature only. It is not specific legal or tax or investment advice for your situation. So make sure that anytime you're thinking of taking any action on your situation, you speak with your investment tax or legal professional before doing that action. I work really hard to make stuff accurate in here, but again, could make a mistake or whatnot. And again, it's just kind of general knowledge. So take it as you will. All right. So what the heck? Well, first off, what the heck does IRMAA mean? Okay. Why is this not? Why is the PowerPoint not going here, guys? Let's see. Because on my screen, I can only see this. Huh. Oh, wait. Now I think I might be able to. Now I think I know what the problem is. Okay. I think that's going to fix it. And now here, there we go. Okay, IRMAA, and now it's showing up. Okay, sorry about that. So IRMAA, what does IRMAA even stand for? Well, it stands for Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. That is a mouthful, but all it really means is that your Medicare premiums can increase, particularly your Medicare Part B and D premiums can increase based on your income. We're going to dive into a lot of details about what that entails, but that's the bottom line. And really your Medicare premiums for this year are going to be based on your income from 2 years ago. And that's kind of a rolling period. We'll also talk about that a little bit, but quick historical background on IRMAA. It was made to kind of help shift some of the costs of Medicare to higher income taxpayers. It only accounts though for about 2% of the government spending on Medicare Part B and D. So it's not a whole lot. It's a little bit, but the government was really, really worried like 10, 15 years ago that Medicare, well, really 10 years ago, that Medicare spending was just going to balloon and like cause these terrible federal deficits. And while Medicare is a huge part of the federal budget, it actually hasn't increased. Spending on Medicare hasn't increased as much as the government thought, which could be a good or bad thing depending on how you look at it. But yeah, so that's kind of the main history behind it. The most important thing, if you take away one thing like from this presentation, like look at this, turn it off. If your income goes $1 over the income limit set by IRMAA, then you get hit with your full Medicare premium increases, and this could be for hundreds or potentially thousands of dollars more in premiums, Medicare premiums a year. Just if you go $1 over the limit. So most taxes, works like, hey, you have an additional $1,000. Let's say you have an additional $1,000 of income. Then that income is going to be taxed at a 22% tax rate or whatnot. But IRMAA, it's like you go $100 over the limit, and you might increase your Medicare premiums by $1,000 for the year. So you made $100 more, but now you have to spend $1,000 more on Medicare. So you're literally better off not earning that $100. That's really rare in the tax code. Most of the tax code is, okay, your income tax rates might go up a little bit. We're only going to take a percentage of your earnings. You're always going to be left off. You're always going to be left over with more money. Or I shouldn't say always, but you're mostly going to be left over with more money in like 99% of scenarios. IRMAA is like that one time where it's like, it really helps if you are aware of these income limits. So when you're right around them from an income standpoint, you don't want to recognize income, or you want to try and decrease your income if possible. In retirement, you have a lot more flexibility with that, so that you don't inadvertently, meet our good friend IRMAA and have to pay the piper with it. And I'm just going to quickly check in here. Okay, no comments. If you have any comments, please feel free. Let me know. Always happy to go over any questions people have. So the IRMAA numbers, we've got, it's called your modified adjusted gross income. So you're not going to be able to find this number in your tax return. You're going to have to start with your adjusted gross income figure on your tax return. For 2022, I think that's line 11. Let me actually look that up real quick. 2022 tax return. Here we go. IRS. And actually, I'll even show you guys real quick this number, or where you can find it, where you can find good old IRMAA on your tax return. So I'm gonna share my screen here with all of you good folks, and let's share this. And yeah, we can see that line 11 here. This was 2022. I assume 2023 is going to be similar, but this is line 11. Of course, really, you don't need this. Well, you would need this for your 2024 Medicare premiums. Help you decide that. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, so line 11 right here. Let's go back. Oh, and you know what? I realized that I can share multiple. Oh, no, I can't stop multiple screen shares. So that's oh, no, I can't share multiple. I thought I could share multiple screens at the same time, but that's not working. So can't do that, I guess. Okay, so for 2023, your Medicare premiums are going to be based on your 2021 income. So this is for 2023. If your yearly income, wait, am I saying that right? Yeah. Yep. So for 2023, if your income on your tax return from 2021 was, if you're individual, $97,000 less, you can see all this. Then you have to pay. This is the Medicare premiums you pay. So if you're an individual, your income is $97,000 or less. Then in 2023, you have to pay $165. But if you go $1 over $97,000, your Medicare premiums jump by $70 a month, which is going to be, let's see, well, close to $70 a month. That's going to be $700-800 a year. And then your married couple, it's different. You have higher brackets, but still the same thing goes where essentially the more money you make, the more your Medicare premiums are going to be. That's kind of the case here. Now it's going to get a little more confusing when we talk about why 2021 income determines your 2023 Medicare premiums. But that's going to come up here in a second. So Medicare brackets are adjusted for inflation each year. And that's kind of one of the issues with planning for this, and especially with Roth conversions, is that we actually, when we're recognizing income this year in 2023, that's going to affect our 2025 Medicare premiums, but we don't know what those brackets are going to be, what the income limits are going to be, because we don't know what inflation is between now and 2025. We can make reasonable estimates. And if you want to be conservative, you just use the income amounts that are this year and you just assume zero inflation going forward is kind of like the conservative planning method. But know that if you are over an income limit 1 year, it's resets each year. So just because maybe you have a big income year this year and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna, or actually, let's say you had big income year in 2021. So in 2023, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm paying so much IRMAA premiums. That will reset next year. In 2024, your Medicare premium part B and D will be based on 2022. So these are like the 2020 brackets. You can see just individual $87,000 or less. And now 2023, we can see it jump to 97,000. So these brackets go up with inflation. Okay, so let's get down about this weird calendar-based thing with Medicare premiums. So why does the government base your Medicare premiums on income, on what your income was 2 years ago? Well, so if you think about it from the government standpoint, for 2023, the government has to know in December 2022, they need an income figure for you to base your Medicare premium out for 2023, because they need to know what your income is before the year begins, right? Because they got to plan and let you know in January, hey, your premiums are going up. Your income's in this bracket, so your Medicare premium is X. They need to have that information before the beginning of the year. So they need to have the information before the beginning of the year. So can they use your 2022 income amounts for 2023? Well, no, the government has no idea what your income is for 2022 yet at the end of 2022, because you fill out your tax return for your 2022 income at the beginning of 2023, April 2023. So the government doesn't know at the beginning of 2023 what your income was for 2022, because the only way it knows is your tax return, or that's the main way it knows, and kind of like the best piece of data the government wants to go off is your tax return. So if they don't know your 2022 income yet at the end of 2022 for planning purposes, then they have to go back to 2021, because they know you filled out your 2021 tax return, which you do at the beginning of 2022, or maybe you delay it till October 2022, but they know by December 2022, they've got all that data, so they can look at that and say, okay, your 2021 tax return, which is based on your income in 2021, they have that information available. That's the latest income data they have for you. So that's what they use. And so that's why it's 2 years ago and it's on a rolling basis. So 2023 Medicare premiums are on your income from 2021. 2024 Medicare premiums are going to be based on your income from 2022, because now that's the most recent income data the government has, because at the end of 2023, this year, we're coming up on it. The government just got, actually the deadline isn't even set yet for 2022 tax returns. It's August or October. I forget the day, October something, for like the federally declared disaster areas and whatnot. So, and just normal extensions. So they still got some time. They don't know right now. The government doesn't know what your 2022 income was. For some people, for a lot of people it does, but for some it doesn't. But by December, you have to file that tax return, or else there's penalties. Now, of course, there's minor exceptions to that, but that's going to cover like 90. That's going to cover the vast majority of people. I don't know what the compliance rate is on filling out tax returns each year for folks. That would be kind of interesting to know. Let's see. Oh, okay. We got some questions here. Hello. Have a good vacation. Yes. Thank you so much for asking. And for coming at a great vacation. You know, I forgot to show you guys pictures. I was going to show you guys pictures of my vacation. I will post that tomorrow for the whole group to see some pictures. I was in Banff National Park, saw a bunch of animals. My wife and I, we rented like a van. So we weren't quite camping. We're like a step up. You know, we had like a bed always, a little propane stove. It was a ton of fun, drove around, did a ton of hikes. It was amazing. If you are at all into the outdoors, going on hikes, camping, seeing beautiful mountain scenery, got to go to Banff, Canada. Would highly recommend. And they just poured a ton of money into like redoing the roads and the camps and kind of facilities. So it's really well funded. You can actually call someone up, the Canada Park Service, and like have to wait for like 5 minutes to hear someone before they'll talk to you. You have to wait like 5 minutes, which is really cool because in the US it can take a lot longer. So, okay, that's enough about my vacation. Appreciate you asking. So, yeah, Medicare premium. So that basically covers this whole weird 2-year Medicare premium thing for IRMAA. Now, I'm just going to add one more confusing layer to it. So remember, your Medicare premiums for 2023 are based on your income from 2 years ago, 2021. But the income limits that are set in 2023 to determine what your premiums are, those are also released at the end of 2022 because now they have the inflation data from the past couple years to inflation adjust the brackets. So for 2021, you didn't know what the Medicare premium brackets were going to be in 2023. So you had to take a guess. Was inflation going to continue to rise? Is it going to stay steady? Was it going to decline? You kind of had to make that guess on what inflation is going to be over the next 2 years. And inflation is incredibly difficult to guess in the short term and the long term. So it's just kind of a big, like, what if, and how do we work around that? Well, to be conservative, you can just use the income brackets for the year you're planning for. So for 2023, we have, let's see, what are the brackets? I just had them here. These are the 2023 brackets. So it's probably a safe assumption that and the 2025 brackets will probably be a little bit higher than these, but hey, maybe we get no inflation, or maybe we get a little inflation, a little deflation. I don't know. But if you use just the standard 2023 brackets, that's probably going to put you in a really good spot then, assuming, inflation is going to average, 5% over the next 2 years. So I'll manually calculate those brackets. That's going to be a little risky business because inflation doesn't do that. Then again, you go $1 over and you just increase your Medicare premiums by hundreds of dollars a year, or potentially a couple $1,000s a year, especially if you're married. So that covers that. Okay, so IRMAA and Roth conversions. We're in Roth conversion season. The end of the year is my favorite time to do Roth conversions because we finally, for the vast majority of people, have a really good sense of what your income is going to be for the year, and that's one of the key parts of the Roth conversion, recipe. You got to know your income for this year, so you know what tax rate you're in, and then you have to make an assumption on your future tax rates. And you probably don't have much more information at the end of this year than you did at the beginning on your future tax rates, but still, it's important to know your current tax rates today, and that's where you get all the information from. So favorite time of the year is to do Roth conversions, right in this 2-month span. I'm busy helping clients right now, doing all that planning, which is a lot of fun. So, and going back to IRMAA, Roth conversions, if you do them incorrectly, or even not even incorrectly, but just FYI, Roth conversions increase your income, which can cause you to jump over those IRMAA limits. It's just really painful when you do a small Roth conversion, or your Roth conversion goes, I commonly see like a Roth conversion go $100 or $1,000 over the limit. And it's like that, you should have just cut the Roth conversion a little bit shorter, converted a little bit less money, and then you could have saved yourself the IRMAA premiums. And again, it's a stealth tax, right? It doesn't show up on your tax return like, hey, bright red lights warning, hey, if you go over this limit, you might get hit with IRMAA. You never hear about that, get that. So that's where a good advisor or CPA kind of comes in to help people out with that. And again, we don't know what the income limits to stay under at the time are, because the income limits are set 2 years from now. So it's just more fun planning that we have to deal with. I like to deal with it and be conservative and just assume that the brackets are, I just use this year's brackets and assume there's going to be no inflation. If there is, great. And two, with conversions, it can be really hard to nail them down to the dollars. You always want a little wiggle room. So it helps knowing like, hey, oops, if I forgot to add in like $50 of interest or something, and we converted right up to the limit, well, then we still have inflation to kind of give us a little bit of cushion too, like a little margin of safety if, mistakes happen, especially when you're doing tax planning, because there's so many little things that can add up and throw off your projection. So let's go through a good old example to kind of see how this all works. And wait, I've got a question. So I'm going to hold you in dramatic suspense while I read the person's question and answer it. Have the IRMAA brackets ever gone backwards? Using current year is a good safe assumption. Thank you for the direction and advice. So that's a really good question. Honestly, I spent like an hour. I got sucked in the rabbit hole of like, can IRMAA brackets go down? Because they were passed in 2012, I want to say. They were passed after the current incarnation of the IRMAA brackets were passed, like after the Great Recession. So we haven't really had a deflationary period since then. I think in principle I don't know. I went down the rabbit hole for an hour on this question. I couldn't find a good answer to it. So I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if they have it written in there that they cannot go down for deflation, but also it wouldn't surprise me at all that the government didn't write that, because why not? If deflation goes down, let's lower the brackets. So to the best of my knowledge, I don't believe they have gone backwards ever in a year, but that doesn't mean they couldn't if we experienced some deflation. But again, that would be over a 2-year period. So that'd be a pretty long time to have a deflationary environment, which is the opposite of inflation. Inflation, your money loses value over time. Cost of goods and services gets more expensive. Deflation is the opposite. So your money, cash, gains in value and purchasing power, and the cost of goods and services goes down over time. That sounds really good, but it's actually really bad for economies. And nobody wants to hear economics 101 from me, so we won't dive any deeper into it. Great question. I don't know. You stumped me. I was wondering the same thing. Okay, so Roth conversion example. Dave is 66-year-old single retiree. He's a pension, has $96,000 a year. That's his only income. He's got no Social Security. And he has $2 million in traditional IRA. He's been a good saver. And he's kind of worried that his RMBs are going to cause him to get pushed into really high tax brackets later in retirement. So he's got that ticking time bomb, because all pre-tax money, eventually the government says, hey, Uncle Sam is patient but not generous. I'm going to want my money. And so Uncle Sam's going to the government's going to force him to begin to take money out of his pre-tax IRA accounts at some point in his life, if he lives long enough. For most people, their RMD age is 73 to 75. And even if he doesn't live that long, then his beneficiaries do. But, so he's thinking long-term, which is great. But the issue with that is, if you aren't aware of the stealth taxes, you may pay more taxes in the Roth conversion than you thought of. It's not as simple as looking at just the tax rates you're in. But so Dave's kind of thinking along the right steps here. I've got this big pot of pre-tax money. Don't want to get crushed by taxes. So I'm going to be smart and do some strategic tax planning, do some Roth conversion. So he does, in 2021, $8,150 Roth conversion. And so then let's see how the math works here. So Dave had 96. So his AGI is $96,000 from the pension plus $81,500 of Roth conversion, $177,500 for his 2023 income. His standard deduction, $12,550. That doesn't look right for a standard deduction for a single person. Was that 2022? Maybe I'm doing this off 2022 tax rates, but if so, that's wrong. It should be 2023. But I think that the example is still going to stand because you're going to see here real quick. He has the standard deduction, taxable income, and then the conversion. Part of the conversion is taxed at 22%. The majority of the conversion is taxed at 24%. So total tax is approximately $19,500. And so that conversion is, taxed at, an effective rate of a little bit under 24% here. And now let's see the IRMAA brackets. Okay, so remember, Dave had that $96,000 pension, but then he did the $81,000 Roth conversion. So if he now look at the single tax return filers, 2023 IRMAA brackets, his yearly income in 2021, if he didn't do the conversion, was going to be under $97,000, and he'd have Medicare premiums of about $165 a month. But Dave did his conversion. His conversion, what was his AGI? $177,500. So Dave gets jumped one bracket, two brackets. So he's three above $153,000. And now he's going to have to pay $428 in Medicare premiums for the year. So Dave is like, oh, like that's really killer for him because he didn't realize it. But so does it really matter? So let's crunch the numbers here. His annual Medicare premiums. I did in 2025. That should be 2023. Let me change that real quick. So in 2023, that's $1,978.80, which again is just going to be $1,978.80 divided by 12 is the $165 equivalent. But then 2023, his Medicare premiums jump $5,100. So he has additional Medicare premiums because of the Roth conversion of about $3,200. So the total taxes from his Roth conversion is how much income taxes he paid on the Roth conversion, plus the additional Medicare premiums, which is about $3,200. And he gets an effective tax rate when you add those both up, an effective tax rate or marginal tax rate of close to 28%. And Dave thought he was only in the 22 and 24% tax brackets. So this is the case where IRMAA kind of drives up that tax rate and makes your Roth conversions less effective, potentially even harmful. But I think it's just a really good point for everyone to see that's really important. You hate to see it. Nobody likes this. It's confusing. It's complicated. It's like it feels sneaky. But the good news is that you if you're just aware of it, you can basically avoid this. If you're aware of it, you can at least know it's coming. Like, hey, with eyes wide open, I'm going to do a Roth conversion anyways, or increase my income anyways, and just take the IRMAA hit, or know that, well, I just have to be really careful around some of these income points, even though that doesn't just show up on the tax return of the normal like tax brackets you see. Now, there's a lot of raging debate about how big a deal IRMAA is. Some people, some advisors I respect, basically think IRMAA is not that big of a deal. Like, hey, it increases your taxes a little bit, but as long as you aren't, like $1,000 within the income threshold, like it doesn't get to be that big of a deal, especially if you're going 10, 20, like, let's see, here. So this bracket, $97,000 or less. If you go up to, $22,000 and you're getting an additional $122,000 of income, then you're increasing your income about $25,000. And your Medicare premiums are increasing by, let's see. So that's, again, if you had like an income of $96,000 and you decide to do a Roth conversion to get you up to 122, that's about $25,000 of income. And you're increasing your Medicare premiums by $790. So $790 divided by $25,000 of income is about a 3% tax increase. Now, 3% is, I'm not going to say it's insubstantial, but it's also not the end of the world, right? So I think it's really hard to give rules with them about always avoid IRMAA or go up to IRMAA. It's really going to be dependent on your situation, also how aggressive you want to be with your Roth conversions, how much additional money. Like, you just think of IRMAA as another tax. So do I want to pay this additional tax to lock in my lower tax rates overall in the Roth conversion versus waiting in the future where I may be exposed to higher tax rates? That, you just got to have to make that decision on a case-by-case basis. It is really clear, though, that, hey, if you're going, I mean, I shouldn't even say $1,000, like a couple $1,000s over, that can really hurt. I mean, especially $100, you literally have to pay more taxes than the income you realize. So that's a huge loss. But when you start going tens of thousands of dollars over these brackets, it can be a minor tax hit. Another thing I commonly see people say about IRMAA is, hey, Larry, I'm thinking about doing Roth conversions now. They're in their 60s, and my low income years before Social Security, before my RMDs push me to a higher tax bracket later. Okay, great. But then and I really want to do a lot because I want to get myself from the fourth IRMAA bracket down to the third. I want to essentially convert enough money now so my RMDs are lower later in retirement. Then I can benefit from a decade, of lower IRMAA payments. I'm a little bit more hesitant on doing a Roth conversion just for the reason of, hey, projecting out 10, 15 years, I think this can reduce my IRMAA. This can reduce my Medicare premiums because we don't know. They can change this up on us at any time. In addition to Social Security, Medicare is also in a little funding trouble. It wouldn't surprise me if they change some of this moving forward. So they can always change it. You want to be really careful about trying to do something that's going to help you 15 years down the road, unless you think you have a pretty good probability it's going to happen. And for me, that kind of draws the line. I think there's just too much uncertainty there with what IRMAA brackets will be 15 years from now, because Congress can change the rules up on us at any point in time. Okay. That's actually all I have for you guys today. I know this was a short one, but since it's Roth conversion season, I'm going to be doing a lot of posts on Roth conversions now, because I have a feeling that the people are going to give the people what they want when they need it. So let me know if there's any other Roth conversion topics you want to see. I'm going to be doing some case studies. Let me know if you have any other questions. Otherwise, we'll call this one early. And again, I apologize for being a little late and not advertising this one, but yeah, it's just a busy time for me, but I'll be back. Don't you worry. Thank you for your thoughts on this and review of your trip down the rabbit hole. Yeah. So I guess I don't know how nerdy you want to get here, but my understanding of IRMAA is that they take this price index average. And so technically it's like the price index average drops, but they average it out. I'm not explaining that well at all. That's because I can barely explain it. They have a complicated formula for IRMAA, and because it's never happened the cases before, we just don't know. So that's all I got for everyone. Hey, again, YouTube channel, would love for people to subscribe. And if you want help with Roth conversions, you want to avoid IRMAA, you don't know about this, it's the first time you're hearing about this, get some help. I help people with this. You can go to my website, OptimumRetirementPlanning.com. Again, Optimum Retirement Planning in the lower left-hand, that's my firm name. You can Google that, schedule a meeting with me and, see if I can help you out. So I don't see any other questions, guys. I'm going to close this down here in about 30 seconds. All right. Going once, going twice. Sold. Thank you all. See everyone next week.